All right. So what are the pros and cons of pet grooming? Starting with something a little lighter here. And I know, for example, I don't really pay for pet grooming, but per your recommendation, we give Salty a bath. We say every month, but really it's about every 6 weeks, 5-6 weeks. But we try to give her a bath before giving her like tick and flea. And it's the flea and tick treatment. They do like a liquid behind the neck here. So we try to bathe her, especially because she's an indoor-outdoor cat, and she just loves rolling around in dirt and getting all dirty. She's a dirt ball. So
yeah, that's pretty normal.
Yeah, and she's getting a little bit used to it, but she always gets a few good scratches in. She's little did you know, cats don't like baths, but you teach them and they get a little better over time. I mean, a lot of dogs don't like baths. So but I think this is about pet grooming, but let's make this subject about going to a professional pet groomer and then doing pet grooming yourself. What do you have to share with us?
Well, I think the pros are that your pet won't look like a mop, or that your pet won't have a bunch of mats in their fur and a bunch of dreadlocks. You know, I think that the most important part for grooming is for the pets that have a lot of hair, that have a lot of fur. And if you don't keep up with it, it's going to be a mess in your home. Sure, you're going to have a lot more pet fur on your furniture and your clothes, but mainly the pet itself, it's uncomfortable for them. Grooming is not a medical issue. Unless you don't do it, then it becomes a medical issue. And in my position as the vet tech, I'm not grooming pets unless people don't take care of their pet's fur and it becomes matted, and those mats become attached to the skin, or their ear infections get really bad, or their toenails grow into their paw pads. Then it's not grooming anymore. Then it's medical. So the pros are your pet's going to look better, feel better. The cons of pet grooming is those differentiations between when is it grooming and when does it become medical. Your groomer is not qualified to make that decision. So somebody who has a pet that's grooming situation is so bad that it is now a medical condition and they take it to the groomer, you might not have a groomer that knows what they're doing and will just try to clean it and do the best they can and send it back home. And they didn't actually fix the problem.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. And there's a variety of pet grooming out there. Of course, like my perspective as a cat owner is that, but I grew up with dogs. And we had a big dog and a smaller dog growing up. They both make it a little bit both difficult on you and pretty easy now compared to cats. But it's interesting. There's a lot of different animals out there that all require some kind of grooming. And I've been on YouTube and I checked out horses. They have a really unique set of grooming, and like their hooves need a lot of care. And so you need to be a specialist to work on that stuff, right?
Yeah. And that's exactly it too. The groomer, that was the other point that I wanted to make. A groomer is a lot of times that I've worked with, and this is definitely anecdotal. There's no evidence behind this. Most of the groomers that I have worked with are not trained groomers. They're just somebody who had an interest in pet grooming and got into it and is getting paid to do it. But the truly qualified, and they probably have licenses and certifications, pet groomers are rare in my experience, and definitely not the norm. For the norm, it's just somebody with some clippers. So I think people that have a pet that requires specific grooming, you should make sure your pet groomer is licensed and certified and actually knows what they're doing. And if you have a pet like a horse, and that grooming is going to be a little bit more specific, a little less general knowledge around it, you're probably not going to be able to get that kind of knowledge just from going to PetSmart and asking the guy that works there. Those are kind of things that are going to take some personal research, and reach out to your veterinarians. Grooming is very important. And if, like I said earlier, if it's not done properly, it's going to become a medical issue. So don't rely on somebody who just says they know what they're doing. Make sure they have the references and the credentials to back that up. Grooming is not to be taken lightly. And I think a lot of pet problems are preventable if people had more grooming knowledge.
Some quick questions. How often should you bathe your pets, and which pets don't really need bathing? Yes. At least human-assisted bathing. Yeah.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. When they need it, right? Bathe your pets when they need it. So that means either they got dirty and you should clean them, and giving them a full bath might not be necessary. Pet wipes go a long way. Soap and water on a wet washcloth goes a long way for pets that have like softer fur or more delicate fur, or like a young animal that you don't want to get too wet because it's hard for them to maintain their body temperature. Wet washcloths go a long way. But for like my dog or my cat, maybe once a month if they're just going to outside to use the bathroom and coming back in, and we're doing regular brushing and regular monitoring. I think a lot of the reasons why me as a veterinary professional, I would recommend somebody brushing their pet every single day.
Okay.
I do not brush my pet every day. I would if I had a pet with longer fur. My dog has short fur. My cat grooms herself, so I don't really need to. But I think that the reason why we recommend it is because it gives you an opportunity to bond with your pet. It also gives you an opportunity to look for lumps and bumps and changes and abnormalities that you're not going to notice if you're not running your hand or your fingers or brushes through the whole body of your pet. And that's something that is easily missed, lumps and bumps, and something that wasn't there yesterday, you'll notice if you're doing regular grooming. So for my pets, I do regular physical examinations. I'm always checking my pets for things that weren't there yesterday. That's my main concern. If it wasn't there yesterday, I need to know and track progress. And I don't think a groomer is qualified to do that. I don't think a groomer is looking for things like that. And you, as the pet owner, is kind of your responsibility to know what's going on with your pet. So regular grooming is going to help you have a general overall assessment of your pet's health.
Any recommendations for pets who are reluctant to, cooperate with the brush?
Yeah. Cooperate with the brush. Do short sessions in the beginning, really short, and try to get them when they're sleeping. I'm thinking of cats right now, mainly. Try to catch them when they're sleeping. Try to catch them like when they're in your lap, and just make it like not something extra or new in the beginning, and start when they're young. I think is a real easy way to get animals, pets acclimated to these things. Start when they're young. Short sessions in the beginning. Don't try to hold your cat down for 20, 30 minutes if they don't like it. Make it a minute or two, and just also, that normal positive interaction with it, where you're just trying to get them used to a new thing. Generalizing the behavior, kind of desensitizing them to it. Just put them near the brush, touch them with the brush.
Positive association.
Yes. Touch them with the brush, pet them, give them treats or whatever, give them lots of love. Do one stroke, give them lots of love, treats, pets, whatever they like, and take it slowly. And also catching them when they're sleepy seems to be a pretty popular technique.
Okay. There's also a fun fact for people who are cat owners out there. It doesn't begin and end with a hard plastic handle and metal prongs for a brush. We own one of those. We also have a glove with kind of hard plastic kind of ends to the glove. I like the glove, you kind of massage them with your natural hand motion, because sometimes the cat can tell, oh, that's not a natural hand motion with the brush, even though the brush is more effective. The glove gets a lot. So that's good. Check out the gloves. Those are good out there. I'm trying to think. You recommended to me, obviously, like way before we did this pod, about the idea of giving your cat a bath, even if it's only when they need it, occasionally, because when they're young, because you told me that when they get older, they're geriatric and there are problems. For example, like feces in the fur, stuff like that kind of stuff, near end of life geriatric cat issues. You're gonna want to get them used to the bath, to know that the bath is not a threat. And so even though I get a little scratched up when we give Salty a bath, and even though we're motivated to give her a bath because she's a dirt ball, especially in the summertime, there are other benefits. So you told me that lesson. Can you elaborate on that a little bit for everybody else?
I think it's really important to get your pets used to things that inevitably they're going to have happen to them. And something like, as they get older, they're going to need more grooming. They're going to groom themselves less. They're going to take care of themselves less. And that's just natural for cats and dogs. As they get older, they take care of themselves less and less. We have to do more for them. So I think having them get used to being wet, being in the bathtub, having their, fur wet and soap and all that is really good for their later in life treatments. And then also, like, when they ever need to go to an animal hospital and they make a mess of themselves and we have to give them a bath, it's really, really hard if it's the first time they've ever gotten a bath. But there are some pets and animals that just will never take it well, no matter how much you try, no matter how much you know what you're doing. And sometimes we have to use that chemical restraint for a lot of the pets coming for baths. If they're just unbelievably uncooperative, a little bit of chemistry is used. And I would prefer that never to happen. Obviously, I don't want to sedate a dog for a bath or a cat for a bath. Yeah. It's really not worth it. But for some pets and animals, they just really are never going to tolerate it. There are some things that you can do. There are methods that I've used for difficult dogs and cats to keep them in the bathtub, and it's a leash. Use the leash in the bathtub and leash them to the sink or to the faucet, or leash them to some, if you have anything in there that's secure. Yeah. In the bathtub, like if you have a soap dispenser that has a bar, or, like a handicap bar, or something that you can leash them to. And the bathtubs that we have at the animal facilities, there's always something you can leash them to and tie them to the wall so they can't get away. And is it the most awesome thing in the world? No, but it does make it a faster process than if you're trying to wrestle with the dog or the cat in the bathtub. And for some dogs and cats, I've used 2 leashes, one to keep them this way and one to keep them that way, so they can't move in either direction too much. Okay. And I'm still there to restrain them, so they're not going to strangle themselves. But it is a very useful technique, the leashing them to the wall, or having 2 leashes, or obviously if you have a second person to maybe even be in the bathtub with the pet, that's something that works too. My wife and I, when we're fostering pets, a lot of the times when they're new to our environment and new to bathing and grooming, we'll get in the bathtub with them. And that makes them feel more calm too. And you don't have to worry about like holding them too hard, which will also be stressful and traumatic
for everyone involved. Yeah. Right. Well, plus if you can get them out of there quicker, then it's probably just less of an unpleasant experience. So it's inevitably an unpleasant experience, but yeah.
Yeah. For you people giving the pets baths at home and it's not going well, stop. If their pet's really freaking out, you have to stop and try something else. Because if they're really freaking out and you traumatize them, they're never going to be okay. They're always going to freak out. So you got to try something else. The bathtub outside, like you see people using the kiddie pools. Okay. Just like I said earlier, wet washcloths or pet cloths that are made for pets. Those and waterless shampoo. Waterless shampoo is a product that you could just spray on your pet. It just sprays on there, soaps up, you scrub it off, and it dries on its own.
The dry shampoo. Yeah.
Look for that. And before I forget to mention it, my veterinarian that I work with now, he recommended the Furminator for pet fur. The Furminator is a brush that has like a 2-pronged system for getting out the undercoat and the top coat. And my veterinarian swore by it. And this was a couple of days ago. We were just talking about how to control pet hair at home. And he recommended the Furminator for everybody out there. Dr. Stump recommends the Furminator.
The Furminator. Cool. 2 more quick questions. I know we're going long on this, but there's so many things about pet grooming. One of them was something I've experienced. Actually, I didn't know this, but cats can get acne. And one of the ways they can is from plastic food bowls. So we have an automatic cat feeder, which is super convenient, but we gotten a little bit lazy with like cleaning out the food bowl between feedings. We're only human. It happens. Right. And she started getting little pimples. And super common. We were kind of teasing her like, oh, she's a teenager. Of course she gets pimples. But then we looked into it and there you go. Apparently porcelain bowls are better for fighting against
stainless steel. Yeah. Ceramic. Steel. Okay. Ceramic is what I recommend people. Ceramic or stainless steel. Ceramic is breakable. It could break. So stainless steel is easy to clean. It's smooth surface. It doesn't get those little grooves in it. With plastic, there's microscopic little grooves. And when the pets are scratching it or biting it too, then it makes deeper grooves and you cannot get the bacteria out of there no matter how hard you try. Okay. And they're just putting their face right into it. Yeah. And then they get the chin acne. It's really common. Even like pimples that you can literally
That's pop. What she gets, like little pimples here on the chin. So we're rubbing her face, we're cleaning the thing, but maybe we can get some kind of steel bowl to go over it.
That'll help a lot. Or just washing your bowls on a regular basis.
We're starting to wash it more on a regular basis. Yeah. And it's starting to die down, but it's still
it'll go away. It's no big deal. Clean the chin too, soap and water.
We do.
And then put some like Neosporin or whatever antibiotic you have at home, and that'll go a long way. But typically
Johnson's clean and clear like she's a teenager, I mean, it would work.
It would work. When the cats come to me and they have the really bad chin acne, I just scrub it really hard with soap and water, but the antibacterial scrub that we have, chlorhexidine. And you could buy that at the store. You could buy chlorhexidine at the store. It's just like a less concentrated type than they use in surgery, but it's an antibacterial soap. They have it in like pads. Like if you ever like a tub that has the pads, antibacterial, it's probably what they use for pimples, something similar.
Yeah, those like little oxy pads growing up.
Yeah, exactly. Oxy pads. That's what I was thinking of.
And that would work on a cat too.
Absolutely. And then I just tell the people to get rid of the plastic bowls, get some ceramic or stainless steel bowls, and it fixes itself.
The problem is it's kind of built into the feeder, but I wonder if we can find one that fits just perfectly, so
you could. Yeah, it's hard. I'm looking at mine right now too, and it's made out of plastic. And that just means inevitably my cat will have some chin acne because I can't take the tray out and just clean it. It's attached to the machine.
It's attached to the machine. Yeah, exactly.
I might try to find some kind of
solution. Yeah. But for now, it's like the face cleanliness. We need to kind of trying to wash your face a little bit every day and try to wash the bowl every day.
It is important for people to know that if your cat has chin acne, that it's sometimes hard to clean it properly if you don't shave the fur off. Sometimes if it's really bad, you have to shave all the fur so you can properly clean it. If you can't properly clean it, it's never going to get better. And if it's all crusted up in the fur, you're not going to be able to clean it properly.
Okay. Last quick hit, and then I promise we're done with this. But again, so many subsets of questions that we could hit.
Grooming.
The thing about grooming that I wanted to ask was, do you just have general recommendations for cutting nails? Like maybe frequency? Is it different between like big dogs, small dogs, cats?
Cutting nails is so important. I'm glad you brought it up, man. There's so much we could talk about in grooming, but the cutting the nails, you have to, again, start young. And if you start young, you only need to cut the tips of your pet's nail. The quick, the nail and the nerve that's going to hurt and bleed if you cut it too far back. It's sometimes hard to judge, even if your pet has clear pink nails that you can see the vein, you could see the nerve. Some breeds have longer quicks than others, like the Dachshunds and the Basset Hounds. And these dogs that are meant for digging, they have really long quicks. And sometimes it's very hard to tell. It's like it's misguiding. You look and you can see the vein in there, you can see it, but it's longer than it looks. So I don't recommend people taking a chance. If you don't know what you're doing, if you're new to cutting nails, don't even try. Take them to the professional, let them do it, or have somebody teach you how to do it. Don't listen to YouTube videos because the dogs and cats are too varied and people's ability to restrain is too varied, and you can really, really hurt your pet. I also don't like the nail files, like the Dremel drills, it's like sandpaper, and it's like a Dremel rotating hand tool, and you can file the nails back with a dog or a cat. That works well if you have an animal that tolerates it, but that's taking a lot longer. That takes a lot longer than just the one clip. And also that vibration, the vibration of that machine also freaks animals out. And the nail clippers are just way faster.
The noise. I mean, the Dremel thing, that just sounds like torture.
Yeah, I don't have good experiences with it, but I have worked at places where we have it because certain owners will request it. Some owners will say, I don't want my dogs, cats, nails clipped. I want them Dremeled, and we'll charge them an extra fee, and we'll do it because it takes longer. It's going to cost more. But to them, they think it makes the nail smoother once you trim it, which it kind of does if you do it right. But you can make it pretty not sharp with the clippers if you know what you're doing. You can clip off the sharp edges. But for nail trimming, find someone that knows what they're doing and teach you. But if you're trying to do it at home and you really think you know what you're doing, I just always recommend people just the sharp tip.
And then do it more frequently.
Trim it all the way back. Yes. And just do it twice a week or every other week, just do it on a regular basis. And for dogs, walk your dogs on cement. It'll file them back.
Right. Yep.
And, doing them on a regular basis will also make your pets more used to it.
Yeah.
And it's not such a crazy event. And also you could do one nail at a time. If your pet is having a really hard time with it, if they're really difficult to restrain, do one nail at a time. Do one nail, wait a while, then do another nail, then wait a while, do another nail before you hold them down and freak them out and hurt them and stress them out and traumatize them.
Yeah. Kate might
Cutting
get the
nails
whole
is really
pause
hard
over
to get them.
like 2-3 days if she's going at it, like it just, it's a process.
It could be a process, and that's okay. I think it's really hard to get the nail to stop bleeding once you've clipped it too far. It's really, really hard, but I will give you some advice. What will work to stop the bleeding if you've cut the nail back too far? Soap, like a bar of soap. Take that nail that's clipped too far and just like dig it into a bar of soap, and that will plug the hole. Or baking powder or baking soda or baby powder or any powder that will kind of coagulate once you put it in there.
Okay.
What I've used in the past is baby powder or baking soda or baking powder, like something like that you can pack in there will also work. And then melted wax will also plug that hole for you. All these
Okay.
things will help you, which I've used at home in a pinch when I didn't have the proper quick stop. There's quick stop powder that is made for that I didn't have. And then there's like silver nitrate sticks that you could put on a nail that'll make it stop bleeding also. So a lot of different options for coagulating blood if you've cut your nail too far.
Thank you, Albert. Those are some great tips. And just, from me, from one pet owner to another, just keep your head up out there. Sometimes it can be a process, it can be a little frustrating. Your pet doesn't want to give into the grooming, but it's they do end up warming up to it if you just make it a habit. If you make it
and
a
brush
regular
their teeth.
Yeah.
Brush your pet's teeth at home. Save yourself a couple of $1,000. Brush your cat's teeth, brush your dog's teeth, start when they're young.
And it kind of goes back to one of the themes that we go over all the time in this podcast, which is like just owning a pet takes responsibility. You got to put in the time. So.
Dental chews don't work. Don't believe the hype.
Dental chews don't work. That's a hot take.
Yeah. All I got to say is you have teeth, right? If you only chewed hard things, would your teeth be clean?
I mean, of course not. Not to the standard of going to the dentist. Yeah.
Period. That's what it's doing for your dog's teeth too.
But there are things in our diet that can help the process. You got to brush your teeth. Okay.
You got to brush your teeth, right? Is there any way around you have to brush your teeth?
But like eating carrots, eating celery, eating these kind of scrubbing and eating nuts, and like there's things you can do in your diet, but still, of course, you got to brush your teeth. But
right, of course, no matter what, you still have to brush your teeth. So people think the dog bone or the dental treat or the dental drops that they put in the water are gonna stop your pet from needing regular teeth brushing. It doesn't. You have to do the regular teeth brushing, or you're gonna end up needing a dental before your pet's 3 to 5 years old.
We're gonna do that as a question next time. There's sometimes you bring stuff up during the podcast, and I'm like, that's got to be a question. We've got one of those this week, So
grooming is a big topic. We got to get to like the nitty gritty. Here we are again, the nuances. That's the Pet Peeves Podcast.
Sorry, this went a little long, everyone, but there's so much information here. We got to break these up into smaller topics.